This update is going to be massive and we have a lot to talk about. We're going to start with a full breakdown of the rewards that you get from Masteries, which you are going to want to see. I'll show you all of the skins, profile customization and titles, some big balance changes, and a whole lot more. For starters, Mastery is actually insane. It's so good. Mastery is going to be replacing your experience level. You'll still be able to see your experience in the legacy section of your player profile, but we'll all stop gaining player XP once this update drops. I wouldn't worry too much about the tokens that you would normally get for upgrading your XP level because we're getting way better rewards with Mastery. Mastery is a new individual progression system that has a separate track for every brawler that you own. Everyone is going to start at Mastery level 1 with every single brawler, and you gain points with the brawler that you're playing simply by winning matches. What's really cool is that the Mastery points that you get will actually scale depending on how many trophies you're at or which rank you are for Power League and Club League. It scales from 5 points at 0 trophies all the way to a massive 100 points for a win if you're above 1,150 trophies. If most of your brawlers are around 500 trophies, then you'll get 35 points for every single win, okay? Here's a table with the specific point rewards that if you really care to see it, but the numbers don't really mean very much without knowing what you're actually going to unlock with your Mastery experience. One thing that's really cool is that your Mastery rank is actually going to be shown for the brawler that you are playing at the start of every match that you play, not just to your teammates, but also to your enemies. So your teammates will know to trust you, and your enemies will know to fear you, or the opposite. Plus, you'll get an exclusive emote that can only be unlocked with Mastery. You'll also get a new profile picture for that specific brawler, and a title for that brawler, which I'll cover in more depth later on. Honestly, this in and of itself, like these exclusive rewards for every single brawler, that's really cool by itself, especially the title and icon that you can show off by mastering a brawler. And that is absolutely worth grinding for itself, in my opinion. It might take a while, which we'll cover later, but what you're most excited for, I know you guys, are the tons of progression rewards that you're going to be getting, okay? That's actually why I'm so excited, because my free-to-play series is about to get a whole lot more fun. The rewards that you get for Mastery will actually depend on the rarity of brawler that you are playing. They're actually divided into basically 3 sections. The rare, super rare, and epic brawlers will get these rewards right here. In total, it comes to 225 credits per brawler, 300 power points per brawler, and most importantly, 2,000 gold per brawler. That's enough to get 1-star power for every rare, super rare, and epic brawler just for playing them, okay? And what's really cool is that the highest resource reward that you can get unlocks at 5,800 Mastery points, okay? Not very far in comparison to actually getting a title, which is way further up there. If you're at about the 500 trophy range and you win 60% of your matches, this will take about 9 hours for you to accomplish, and that's actually pretty good, but it gets even better if you have a higher win rate or have more trophies. Also, you get an additional 20% Mastery points every single time you're the star player of a match, which means that there's actually a benefit to being the star player. Now, the rewards for Mythic, Legendaries, and Chromatics are very similar, okay? The rewards scale up to 300 credits, 450 power points, and 300 gold for Mythic and Legendary brawlers, but the final resource reward for Chromatic brawlers is actually 100 Chroma credits instead of 200 regular credits, which is really awesome. So you're gonna get enough resources for a free gadget and a free star power just for playing these brawlers. The amount of progression that's going to be available once this update drops is actually insane, okay? We're talking about 160,000 gold, all thanks to Mastery, if you have every single brawler unlocked, of course. Which is gonna take quite a bit of time, but that will be a huge help in getting brawlers to power 11 or to unlock some remaining gears or gadgets. And what's cool is that every single time they release a new brawler, there's even more rewards for you to unlock. And honestly, I just think that this is a fantastic way for Supercell to reward the most active and dedicated players who are willing to put the time in and are actually doing that already anyways. But there's even more exciting news to Mastery. You don't lose any points if you lose a match, so as long as you play enough, you will eventually be able to reach Mastery on the brawlers that you want. It will take a very long time though. In Brawl Talk, they said that reaching the end of Mastery would take about 48 hours. That's gonna take way less time for the true actual masters in the game, right? Who will reach that much sooner. But I really like that they made it so that everyone can actually experience the rewards as long as they are dedicated enough. And of course, the hope is that even people that don't have a bunch of skill in the game and aren't actual masters will become somewhat of a master as they climb to that highest Mastery rank. With all that being said though, I think my personal favorite aspect about all of this is that the progression resources, the things that are actually gonna help you upgrade your characters, is gonna happen very early on in the Mastery road and are very reasonably easy to unlock, okay? But the highest rewards for Mastery, the titles, are very exclusive since they do take take quite a bit of time to unlock. Honestly, when I've actually first heard that it would take about 48 hours to reach the highest mastery rank, I did think that that was too much, but the more that I think about it, I'm actually pretty glad that it's gonna take a lot of dedication to unlock them, okay? They're gonna be super exclusive, and having a collection of titles is actually going to be worth showing off to people. There are a couple other things to keep in mind regarding Mastery. Mastery does not reset. Once you reach the max level for a given brawler, that brawler is done and you cannot unlock those rewards any longer. Also, there's a daily cap on how many mastery points you can earn in a day, but it's similar to the experience that you could farm in a day, and my guess is that most of you guys watching this video do not reach that max XP very frequently. Honestly, if you do, it's probably a good thing that they're going to make you take a break, because capping out the XP before the update did require a ton of time. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I'm very pumped about this. Okay, Mastery is gonna be fantastic. This is actually gonna have a huge impact on the way that people progress their accounts in the game. I'm already coming up with a lot of different plans for my free-to-play series, but that's not everything coming in the update. We're getting a new battle start screen, and this is what it looks like. Each player will have a player card that shows a ton of info for a few seconds before the match starts, and you can customize your player card to be unique for every brawler in the game that you want. So you can have a different player card for Piper than you do with Mortis or Grom or any other brawler. Or you can just go with the default one that's applied to all or most of your brawlers. Now, your fame level is going to be visible if you have unlocked fame, which I think is cool because fame is essentially going to show how much you've played Brawl Stars in total and that you're a dedicated long-term player. But on top of that, you have your current mastery level with the brawler that you are playing will also be visible, which shows how much you've played your current brawler. The player card will also show your current brawler, of course, with their current skin that you're using, which is really awesome, a pin of your choosing, and 2 profile pictures of your choosing as well. Like, seriously, this is so cool. You can do all sorts of cool little customizations and stuff with this. Now, here's a full list of all the titles that you can get. You can obviously grab a screenshot, but I will point out just a few of the funny ones. Edgar's is CEO of Brawl Stars. Squeak's is an accident, so it would be Kairos is an accident. I mean, not subscribing would be an accident. Penny's is the salty, Ash's is trash tier, Pam's is your mom. It's just so funny, okay? There are some really great ones here, and once you've unlocked a title, you can play it on any brawler that you want, which is pretty awesome once you've unlocked quite a few. Brawl Stars is adding a new permanent event slot, and the community is actually going to be able to vote through their social media polls, probably on Twitter or maybe even Instagram, which events will be available for the following season. This season that's coming up right now is going to have duels and basketball, and each one of those game modes will be playable every other day. Okay, now let's talk about balance changes. We don't actually have a ton of balance changes, but we do have one major change that I think is going to shake things up quite a bit. Indestructible walls are coming back to Brawl Stars. These walls cannot be broken in any way. They won't even get destroyed in overtime for Brawl Ball or Basketball. Once they're there, they are permanently there. And this is going to shake up the meta quite a bit if you ask me. Throwers, tanks, medium range bruisers like Nita or Sandy are all going to have a lot more game time, at least on certain maps where that's going to be really useful for them. Speaking of Sandy, he is getting a 5% damage buff. At max level, his damage is increasing from 1,290 damage to 1,350 damage. That's a decent buff, but I don't think it's going to make him too OP, okay? He'll be able to handle 1v1 situations a bit better now without his utility becoming too overwhelming. Byron is getting a 9% buff to his reload speed, okay? You might recall that about 8 months ago, he got a massive reload speed nerf, and this buff to his reload speed is halfway between what it was 8 months ago and what it is right now. So this should allow him to become a pretty decent option again without making him like the go-to healer for every situation like he was a year ago. Gray is getting a pretty big nerf to his super. His teleport will no longer instantly teleport teammates with him when he activates it. They will still be able to teleport afterwards, and Gray will still instantly teleport with his super, but now he won't be completely unfair when paired with certain brawlers like Jackie, who would just jump on people and it was completely unfair. Sam is getting a 14% nerf to his super damage. At max level, it's decreasing from 2,100 damage down to 1,800 damage. Sam is a close range damage dealer, and his super was just a little too good at dealing big damage from a distance away. And I still think it's gonna be good, and honestly, Sam's still gonna be pretty good, just not quite as good as he was before. Otis is getting a 6% nerf to his health. At max level, it's decreasing from 5,100 HP down to 4,800. Otis he was just too good last season. He was S tier, he was arguably the best brawler in the game, and decreasing his HP should make him a little bit more vulnerable. Finally, we've got Bo, and this is a big change for Bo. His super totem gadget is no longer going to passively charge supers over time. Instead, it's going to increase the super supercharge rate of teammates that are close to his totem by 50%. So they'll actually have to hit enemies in order for them to charge their super. To make up for this change though, the charging area around the super totem is doubling in size. It's absolutely massive now. And honestly, I think this is a pretty good change for Bo, okay? His super totem gadget had come up time and time again for brawlers like Nani or for Bo paired with Jackie and Gray. And it's kind of been an unfair ability every now and then. And I think that Bo's go-to gadget will still be his super totem, but it's not gonna be nearly as unfair as it was before. Now let's cover some awesome skins coming to the game, starting with the License to Brawl skins. Crimson RT will be available at tier 70 of the Brawl Pass. I can't show you anything else about this skin until the RT Olympics video, but the El Mayordomo will be available at tier 1 of the Brawl Pass. El Mayordomo apparently is Spanish for the butler, and that's exactly what he's dressed as, except both of his arms are mechanical and he's evil. But he's got a pretty sweet mustache, so you know it's a pretty good skin, right? His attacks are still a bunch of giant fists, but it looks like there's electricity coming from them, and his super also looks similar, except you can see that he's being launched into the air with some kind of boosters on his feet, which is pretty cool. When he wins, he cleans up very nicely, like a good robot butler absolutely should. And when he loses, both his mechanical arms kind of punch him in the face, they fall apart, he gets dizzy, falls over on the floor, he's a complete mess. Terrible butler in my opinion. Next we have Mariposa Piper, and she is the new Power League skin. So you'll have to win 60 games of Power League and pay 25,000 star points to unlock her. She has a beautiful butterfly bow, her sash is a butterfly, her dress is a butterfly, she does have orange hair, which is butterfly-ish, I guess, and her umbrella splits in 4 pieces, acts like a propeller. That's really cool. Her main attacks are, you guessed it, butterflies. They actually look really cool though, okay? For her super, she drops little flower grenades, and then her propeller actually twirls around like a helicopter. It looks really dope. And when she wins, she spins her umbrella around and then takes a shot right at the camera. And when she loses, she crosses her arms, grits her teeth, and then turns around to spin her umbrella a couple of times. Inspector Gray is going to cost 79 gems, and once you buy the skin, you have the option to buy the Noir edition for 29 gems. These two skins have the exact same animations, so it's really just about whichever style and color you like more. Detective Gray's cane has a magnifying glass at the end of his right arm, and his mechanical arm actually looks like it has a revolver chamber on it, so his finger gun is actually firing real bullets. I actually really like the Noir edition because all of his colors are still kind of washed out except for his mechanical arm, which is bright red and really pops out. For his winning animation, he reveals his mechanical arm from behind his coat, and he seems pleasantly surprised that it's working properly. For his losing animation, his mechanical arm slaps his face so hard that his hat flies off his head, and then his arms just break off. Alley Cat Bull will be available for the 149 gem skin, and I guess that it makes sense because there's actually a lot of details to this skin. He has a cat who also has a mechanical arm, I guess, and from the eye patch Bull is wearing, with cat scratches marking across his eyes, they might not get along very well. In fact, he uses the cat to fire at enemies. I don't know where the shotgun went, but he is now firing paw prints from his main attack. Then for his super, he runs with a giant cat face hologram in front of him, and when he wins, his cat circles around him and then he hops into his arms as Bull gently pets it. It's kind of creepy actually. And when he loses, his cat tries to comfort him, but after rejecting the cat, it gets really angry and attacks his face. Next we have the 3 new skins from the Ayakashi clan, okay? Oni Otis is gonna cost 149 gems. This skin is so cool. He's got a really cool samurai outfit complete with a little samurai sword on his hip. And his starfish only has 1 eye and a big bushy unibrow. Now for his attack, he shoots out clouds that have this really cool Japanese art style to them. And for his super, his starfish latches onto the enemy, but since Syl looks different, the super actually looks different. Now when he wins, the tail locks onto Syl as Syl flies around Otis really quickly and causes Otis to spin all the way around. It looks really awesome. And when he loses, he falls to his knees as his sword flies out of its sheath, and then he bows his head right onto the sword's hilt as Syl pats his head to comfort him. What a good friend. Tengu Mike is also going to cost 149 gems. He's got an angry looking mask on with a giant lantern on his back that is sticking his tongue out, and instead of throwing dynamite, he throws lanterns instead that also have faces on them. For his super, he takes that creepy looking lantern off his back and throws it, and when he wins, he rolls his hat on his arms behind his head, then catches one of his lanterns in his hand and catches the other with his foot. It's very cool. When he loses, he creates a little bonfire by placing his lanterns inside his head, but then he puts out the fire by stuffing the giant lantern on top of everything. Oh my gosh, guys, Kitsune Lola is going to cost 149 gems. It's so cool. They're all costing 149 gems, the Ayakashi clan, and honestly, all three of them are super worth it, okay? She's got a 7-tailed fox and a mask that looks very similar to the fox itself, along with some painted whiskers on it. For her main attack, she shoots flowers that appear to be made out of paint because they leave an imprint on the ground and they splash colored droplets everywhere. Her super is a copy of herself, but she does throw the bottle around her neck to summon her ego, which is cool. And when she wins, her foxtail spins around her and she catches it and uses the tail to splatter paint all over the screen. And when she loses, she waves the fox around like she's trying to get the last bit of paint out of it, but when it doesn't give her any paint, she gives up and the fox goes to sleep. Now, Penny and Jessie both have 2 skins that are being remodeled. None of the gem prices are going to cost anything different, so if you buy it before the update or after the update, it doesn't really matter. Finally, we've got 6 more skins coming to the game that we need to cover, okay? Starting off with the Easter skin, Belle Nani, which will cost 79 gems. She is literally a bell with all the happy Easter colors, and she's wearing a little Easter charm bracelet and has wings. Peep is an Easter egg and also has wings. For her main attack, each of her beams are little Easter eggs that hatch at the end of the attack, and her super is an Easter egg Peep that uses her wings to flutter around the map. It's really cute. There's also a bunch of confetti that explodes, so hooray, I guess. When she wins, she triumphantly floats in the air, and you can actually see vibrations from her ringing that looks really cool. And when she loses, she slaps herself in the face, and her spirit leaves her body with a halo above her head. Now, Sultan Carl is a lunar brawl skin and is going to cost 149 gems. He floats around on a magic carpet, wears a turban, and throws a gold crescent moon. His moon actually looks really sharp when he throws it, and his super whips up a windstorm around, or a sandstorm around him as he spins. When he wins, he throws his moon into the air and catches it after it floats around his head with his magic carpet, lifting off the ground. And when he loses, his moon falls on the floor, so he picks it up, dusts it off, then pats his sad magic carpet on the head. You did your best, magic carpet. Popstar Janet will cost 79 gems. Janet now has a much fancier microphone, and her jetpack is also a giant speaker. She also has some very flashy popstar clothes complete with blue hair. For her attacks, she shoots out 4 big stars with her microphone, and when she uses her super, she drops disco balls instead of bombs. That's fun. When she wins, she pulls off some really sweet popstar dance moves, and it continues going on for quite a while, all while the spotlight is shining down on her. And when she loses, her paparazzi takes pictures of her until she's had enough and throws her microphone at them. Spirit Knight Frank is the winner of the latest Supercell Make contest, and he will cost 149 gems. So congratulations to Winky XSQ. This skin is legit, okay? Frank has a full suit of armor, but his head is just a flaming skull with horns. Like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. He also wields a giant sword instead of a hammer, okay? His attacks and super still makes cracks in the ground, but they send out pointy flames instead of shockwaves. When he wins, he rolls his floating head across his arms and then flicks it back into place with his sword. When he loses, he gets so frustrated that his head pops off of his body and flies off the screen. As we saw in Brawl Talk, RT is getting a Patrol RT skin that will be available early on in the season and will cost 29 gems. I can't show any more details of it until a future sneak peek, so make sure you subscribe for that. And that's the same actually going on with Axel Willow as well. And that's everything I can share with you in this sneak peek, but I've got more sneak peeks coming in the future, so make sure you guys subscribe for that right now and check out my previous video where I broke down both of the newest brawlers in the game. I would especially appreciate you guys using code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop. And for now, this is KairosTime ticking by. We will see you in Brawl Stars.